how Trump is building an American dictatorship. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, bro, shit, we might be cooked as a nation, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. You know what I'm saying? In all seriousness, though, American has been in like decline in like the past like 60 years, bro. And with that, you know, you get the descent of, you know, like a democracy. You know what I'm saying? But me personally, I do think that if Trump wanted to, he could, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's more of like I do think he has like, it's not gonna be him that becomes the dictator. It's gonna be someone who comes after him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of the reality, bro, of how I see it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, but let's see what is going on, especially with like with the whole Project 2025 and following all the steps. I do think that Trump does act authoritarian, but that is, a lot of it is a result of a declining nation, and that kind of shit. But I do think he is trying to build a dictatorship. I do think that's a fact, though.
Here we are. And which Republican?
But maybe not for himself, though. But you know what I'm saying? But look, at the end of the day, regardless of who you support, you know what I'm saying? If Trump does turn out to be a dictator, bruh, you know what I'm saying? Right? You know what I'm saying? We as the American people will fight together. You know what I'm saying?
Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
Since Trump started in politics, he has been underestimated. Few thought he would win in 2016.
Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States. Take it to the bank.
Okay.
I guarantee it.
Then supporters told us ideas like the
Peter Thiel takes Trump's Muslim bans seriously, but not literally. Peter Thiel, to all people, should not be worried about shit, nigga. You are all best buddies with each other behind the scenes, bro. We know this, bro.
Muslim ban should be taken
I'm pretty sure
seriously,
they are,
but
right?
not literally, only for those ideas to become reality. Then Trump joked he wouldn't leave office.
One of them said, you know he's not leaving. He's not leaving. You know that. And I thought, he's a comedian. I thought he was kidding. He's for real. So now we have to start thinking about that, because it's not a bad idea.
Columnists write
What the fuck, bro? The fact that he'll... Look, I get it, like, I know bro be joking, but that nigga really do not be joking sometimes, bro. Like, you... Sometimes... It doesn't... Like, people who make... Everything starts off as a joke. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, everything starts off as a joke. That's all I gotta say. You know what I'm saying? Like...
writing articles with titles like, "There will be no Trump coup," shortly before Trump sent a mob to the Capitol to try and overturn the election. So, given this long-running failure of imagination, what should we make of the idea that Trump is turning the US into a dictatorship?
We're going to have ICE surround the polls. We will never again allow an election to be stolen.
Bro. I hate Steve Bannon so fucking much, bro.
Take over the voting in at least 15 places.
The signs seem everywhere. The violence of ICE on the streets, Trump's efforts to lock up political opponents, judges being arrested, media outlets compromised, use of the DOJ to get revenge, attacks on universities, attacks on businesses, promises of crackdowns, videos of political arrests, use of emergency
Donald Trump would never arrest Obama. I don't believe he would ever arrest Obama. I genuinely don't believe that. You know what I'm saying?
laws, large-scale corruption, Big Brother-style banners everywhere.
I'm not gonna lie, bruh. That shit crazy. That nigga moving like a fascist, bruh.
Been a lot.
Usually they say he's a horrible dictator type person. I'm a dictator. But sometimes you need a dictator.
But at the same time, I know many feel skeptical of this idea. To be honest, I often feel skeptical of this idea. And so I wanted to make a video focusing just on this question. Is Trump building a dictatorship in the US? And I'm going to do it in two parts. First, in this video, I'll set out all the reasons to worry. Then in another video, I'll give the more optimistic case. To answer this question, I've gone deep, reading through a pile of reporting and research, and looking at how dictatorships have emerged around the world and throughout history. This information is important, because if we can understand the way dictatorships work at a deeper level, we can recognize the changes that are taking place right now, often hidden in plain sight, and so be able to stop Trump, or anyone else, building an American dictatorship.
My thing is like, even if you don't think he's a dictator, I would say be skeptical, bro. You gotta be skeptical with these politicians, man. Like, you know, everything starts off as a fucking joke, bro. I would say at least be skeptical, bro.
There's so much going on with Trump, so much noise, that with this dictatorship question, I want to zoom in on one particular area. At the foundation of all dictatorships are the security forces, the military, police, and other parts of the state that wield the power of brute force. Trump is doing many things to undermine democracy, but ultimately it will be his ability to control these forces that is key if he wants to build a dictatorship. In a democracy, security forces get their direction from a government or leader who is chosen by the people through elections, and the different parts of these forces all serve the people. But what we see under a dictatorship is that these institutions are corrupted. They no longer exist to serve the people, but to oppress the people and keep the regime in control. And under Trump, there is plenty of evidence that this process is taking place in the United States.
Right. I want loyalty.
Can't you just shoot them? Just shoot them in the legs or something.
That's fucking crazy, bruh. Yo, Trump is a fucking psychopath,
He's
bruh.
suggesting that that's what we should do, that we should bring in the troops and shoot the protesters.
No justice, no
During the George Floyd protests of his first term, Trump wanted to use the military to break up protests. At that time, Trump's defense secretary stopped this happening, which Trump hated, later firing the man and venting to staff, "I need the kind of generals that Hitler had." Quote,
That's crazy, bruh.
people who were totally loyal to him, that follow orders. At another point, he appeared to refer to the massacre of protesters in Tiananmen Square in 1989, telling officials the Chinese generals would know what to do.
That's fucking crazy,
Well,
bruh.
in his second term, Trump has made his appointments differently. Kash Patel, for example, is head of the FBI, a man whose qualifications include being a podcaster and writing a children's book casting himself as a wizard.
Bro, what the fuck is this,
fighting
bruh?
a Russia collusion hoax. The Secretary of Defense is Pete Hegseth, TV host and party boy.
Yo, bruh, our country is so fucking cooked, bruh. You know what I'm saying? And this is the guy who, he's literally a white nationalist, isn't he? He literally has a tattoo. He literally has the white nationalist tattoo on his fucking pec, bro. You know what I mean?
Now in charge of 1.3 million active duty troops. So why has Trump
What the
hired
fuck?
such underqualified people? One common explanation is that he's a dummy who likes people who look good on TV. But hiring underqualified people
I think that's a part of it.
is also about loyalty.
Our country has never been so secure thanks
It's not secure.
to you.
You have breathed life back into the profession of law enforcement.
And you are going to save the whales on the East Coast.
People like
That nigga said whales, bro. Ain't RFK Jr. the nigga that took a dead whale carcass and put it on the top of his car? Yes, this is a true story. He did do this. He put it on the top of his car. He drove it to his house and was like eating the corpse and shit like that. This is a guy that believes that like autism is caused by vaccines and Tylenol. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy who took a bath in sewage water, bruh. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy who look up the word felch. If you've ever heard of felching, look that shit up, bro. I'm not gonna describe what it is. It's fucking disgusting. But like, it's some freak ass sexual shit. Let's just say that, bro. But that's what he a freaky ass nigga, bro. This is a guy who hit a bear with his car, put it on the back. It killed the bear, I guess. It put it on the back of his car, drove it, ate it, and got a brain parasite. Mind you, this nigga RFK Jr., he admitted that shit out loud. Like, he admitted it himself that he did that shit, bro.
this know they'd never have their prestigious job without Trump, and so they become yes men, happy to be sycophants and do whatever they're told. This also explains why Trump is happy to appoint people who've criticized him in the past, knowing that when such people are turned to sycophants, they are happy to appoint people
Oh my gosh, this is what this nigga looked like with his fucking, without his beard, bro. It's crazy how this nigga would grow a beard and he still looks like a fat baby, bro.
who've criticized him in the past, knowing that when
It looks like he only grew up like 2 years. You know what I'm saying? With the beard attached to it. Like, he still looks like a baby, bro.
such people are turned to sycophants, they are humiliated and thus have greater incentive to stay in Trump's circle, the one area where they have power and esteem. The net result is people who will do whatever Trump wants.
Can't you just shoot them? Just shoot them in the legs or something.
Hiring yes men is not the only way that Trump is ensuring the personal loyalty of those in the security forces. Since Trump was elected, his administration has fired
Senior military officers removed and reassigned. Aren't these the people that made that video and it was like, hey, like, you in the military, you're not supposed to like follow like illegal orders or some shit like that.
Precedented numbers of senior people from the military. They even fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, something that has never happened before. There have also been multiple waves of firings at the FBI, something that has contributed to a severe manpower shortage. In fact, Patel recently admitted it would take 14 years to get the agency fully staffed again. The intelligence agencies have also been cleared out. The head of the Defense Intelligence Agency was fired for daring to question whether Iran's nuclear program had been obliterated, and multiple intelligence professionals were ousted after Laura Loomer, a MAGA influencer,
oh my god, bro,
accused them of being, quote, disloyal to Trump. Why all of these firings?
Gosh.
Well, from the perspective of a wannabe dictator, purges have many benefits. Removing long
that's the key though. Donald Trump is a wannabe dictator, bro. You know what I'm saying?
standing leaders makes those institutions weaker, and thus
Nah, look, like I said, I do not support Donald Trump at all. I fucking hate this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But like, I really don't think he has the real passion of actually being a dictator, though. I'm just kidding.
easier to boss around. Purges
I'm just
also
kidding.
mean you make room for new yes men. For example, the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs was seemingly brought in because Trump remembers him wearing a MAGA hat when they first met. Purges also send a warning to others.
And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank, there goes your future.
For this reason, purges of the security force
That's crazy. There goes your rank. There goes your future. Like, okay,
are a common
motherfucker.
characteristic of dictatorships. Stalin, for example, famously executed tens of thousands of Red Army officers. Saddam Hussein purged members of his party live on TV. And just recently, President Xi used claims of corruption to purge a top general. When Trump can't hire yes men or purges aren't an option, he's used other tactics to put pressure on those in the security forces. FBI agents are asked in job interviews who they voted for, polygraphed about their political beliefs, while judges are insulted and threatened. Trump has also tried to corrupt the neutrality of the military.
You think this crowd would have showed up for Biden? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so.
By turning speeches into political rallies.
That's scary when like you're like when you hear people in the military, they're like, look, I don't support Biden either, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, doesn't it make you uncomfortable when you hear all those like soldiers laughing and shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, bro.
Encouraging troops to boo political opponents, ordering the removal of soldiers with, quote,
Yeah.
political views that are in opposition to the current administration, all while vendors sell MAGA hats and other merchandise.
Yeah, like I said, it's I don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, not like I don't agree with the guy saying like the voiceover guy, but I don't agree with this right here. Like, I don't agree with all that. Like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's creating a cult. You know what I'm saying? Like,
For Trump,
Nick, you know what I
threats,
mean?
the purges, the yes men, it's all about personal loyalty. But while
Right.
the concept is an obsession of his, what he's asking for is actually a corruption of loyalty.
Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. To support and defend.
In their oath, those in the military swear true faith and allegiance to the
Right.
Constitution, not
you don't serve the fucking
the person. In fact, loyalty is at the top of the US Army's list of values, but it's defined as true faith and allegiance to the US Constitution. In other words, the military must be loyal, but it's loyal to the laws and democracy at the heart of the American system, not to any particular politician, leader, or party. That's why it's wrong
Yeah.
for the military to boo or cheer.
That's the thing. That's why I said like it makes you like uncomfortable. Like you're not supposed to like you're not serving the fear. You know what I'm saying? You're serving the Constitution, the people, foreign and domestic. So it's like when they're laughing and booing like that, it's like what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Politicians, and why it'd be wrong for a general or any other member of the military to wear a MAGA hat and uniform. But of course, a dictator doesn't want security forces to be politically neutral, loyal to whoever is elected. He wants them to be loyal to him personally.
Ich schwöre Adolf Hitler.
Yo, these motherfuckers are insane, bruh.
That's why when Hitler came to power, he replaced the traditional oath to the German constitution with an oath naming him personally. Under Mao, soldiers were expected to recite quotations from a little red book of his personal sayings, and Saddam Hussein named one part of the army the Fedayeen Saddam, literally Saddam's men of sacrifice, a unit his son Uday, a big Star Wars fan, dressed all in Darth Vader helmets. This is clearly the direction that Trump wants to take the US security forces in. It's a diminishment of the US military and the country's public servants, and it's a corruption.
Even if Trump doesn't become a dictator, he's creating the foundation of a dictatorship to take place in the future. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Yeah, I do view Trump as a fascist. I do. Like he is. He acts like an authoritarian. He wants to be authoritarian. He acts like a king. You know what I'm saying? No, you know what I mean? Like it's true, bro. Like
loyalty that takes the country closer to a dictatorship.
yeah.
It's not only the people, it's the purpose of these institutions that's being corrupted. I made a whole video about how the Department of Justice is now organized to be Trump's personal retribution machine, corrupted from its purpose of enforcing the law without fear or favor. Another example is the FBI, the purpose of which is to protect America against organized crime and terrorism, and maybe the odd investigation into the paranormal, but is now used to take revenge on Trump's critics, to act as drivers for the buddies of Kash Patel's girlfriend, or to investigate the widow of someone ICE agents have just shot without justification. But perhaps the most worrying corruption of purpose is Trump's obsession with using the US military against its own citizens.
Extraordinary images out of Los Angeles tonight. Hundreds of National Guard troops now on the ground, deployed by President Trump, even though state leaders say they didn't ask for them and don't want them there.
In June last year,
come on, bro.
Trump sent National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles. And since then, Trump has deployed troops all over the US.
If you take a look at what's been going on in Portland, that's insurrection. I mean, that's pure insurrection.
Trump has
it's not an insurrection. You know what I'm saying?
Justified these deployments as
insurrection is crazy, bro.
Needed to counter insurrection and crime emergencies. Though it's not credible to call these protests insurrections.
Yeah, an insurrection is fucking crazy, bro.
And the crime rates in the cities Trump has targeted were already trending down.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you have the fucking paramilitary fucking walking around the streets, people are more or less inclined to fucking commit crimes, bruh. When you're creating a police state, you know what I mean?
To protect the country from external threats, not suppress protests. After all, when service members are pledging loyalty to the Constitution, they're pledging loyalty to defending rights like the right to protest. But dictators, of course, see things differently. They need the military to put down protests, as the Chinese army did in 1989, commanded by generals that Trump says he admires. The founders of America knew about the way soldiers on the streets can be used to oppress a people, and the US has long-standing laws against using the military domestically. But Trump has established a new normal, placing the most powerful part of a state's security forces where they will be most needed in a dictatorship: in the capital city, where he has the power to command them directly, and in democratic cities that are most likely to be sources of protest as he tightens his control, corrupting the military, like other parts of the security forces, from their purpose as protectors of America's democracy into a force that can destroy it. There's one other way in which Trump is corrupting the US security forces.
Video released by Trump administration officials shows a 29th boat strike that killed one person in the Eastern Pacific.
Since September 2025, at least 128 people have been killed in dozens of airstrikes on alleged...
You talking about the fishing? Bro, let me tell y'all something, bro. They're fishing boats. I'm not gonna crash out, bro.
Drug boats. Now let's put aside for one moment
drug
these are
boats.
Best case. Executions without trial, without evidence, and with no imminent threat to the US.
Part of it is, though, is like Donald Trump really doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So he's just fucking winging it. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. You know what I'm saying? And the people in our government, in the White House, they don't really know what they're doing. So they're giving up all the power to like the billionaires, basically, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Right, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not discrediting this video or nothing like that, but like, you know what I'm saying? I do think that Trump is building a dictatorship, and I do think that because America has been in decline, that we are going through a regime change here in America itself. Really, we never really had a true democracy, but, you know what I'm saying? But like, the reality is like, not only is Trump turning more authoritarian and that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, at least that's how I view it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's scary, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, he really doesn't know what he's doing either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, for many, this won't seem too different.
He's just winging it.
Foreign policy. But if you're looking for signs of an emerging dictatorship, what's most worrying about these actions is the precedent they set for the US military breaking US laws.
Sources tell CNN the US military carried out a follow-up strike on September 2nd after becoming aware of survivors in the water. The sources tell us that prior to the strike, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth had ordered the military to ensure everyone on board was killed.
Killing your opponent when they're disarmed is dishonorable, but it's also clearly against US law. In fact, the US Law of War manual even uses firing upon the shipwrecked as an example of the kind of thing that even ordinary soldiers would know is unlawful. We're used to hearing about America's illegal wars. And as I record this, Trump has started a war with Iran that is against international law. But I'm focusing on this boat strike because it's such a clear example. Even MAGA fan channel Newsmax said it was a crime.
This is an act of a war crime, ordering survivors who the law requires be rescued instead to be murdered. There's absolutely no legal basis for it. Everybody along the line who did it, from the Secretary of Defense to the Admiral to the people who actually pulled the trigger, should be prosecuted for a war crime for killing these two people.
Of course, it's important for the military to obey orders from civilian leadership.
Now, like, keep in mind, though, too, like, every other president of the United States have committed war crimes as well. Like, that's just a fact, bro. Like, there's never been a president that hasn't committed a war crime. There literally hasn't been. So it's like, I don't know, bro. It's so weird, bro. Like, it to me, it just seems like, I mean, I do think Trump is building a dictatorship, but it's like, because America has been in decline, the people, you know, like all these presidents and politicians, like, they think that the laws that are established don't work anymore, and so they're just winging it, and they're just doing whatever in hopes that something works. You know what I'm saying? They're basically buying time. They're buying time. They're distracting the people as much as they can with this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? While they take as many of your rights as you can secretly without you knowing. You know what I'm
But
saying?
like every part of the security forces in a democracy, they have to follow the law. This idea is foundational. It's there in the Army's oath of enlistment, where service members promise to obey the orders of the president according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. But of course, a dictator doesn't want the law interfering with his orders. That's why in Turkey, when President Erdogan was building his dictatorship, he passed a series of immunity laws that protected his security forces from the law, while Putin has passed similar laws in Russia. And now in the US, Trump's administration is systematically trying to do the same thing with the US
and they're trying to normalize
military. Hegseth has fired the top military lawyers, made it harder for rank and file to report wrongdoing, and has downgraded the rules that restrict how soldiers treat civilians and prisoners and so on.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
Facts.
You must refuse illegal orders.
Nice.
You can see how important it is for Trump to have the US military outside the law, from his reaction to 6 Democratic lawmakers releasing a video urging those in the armed forces to refuse illegal orders. An idea that is, as we've seen, at the core of the US military's culture. Yet Trump called their videos seditious behavior punishable by
Yo, this motherfucker is insane, bro.
death, while his prosecutors tried to charge them with breaking the law. This is all happening in a wider context of impunity, where Trump argues anyone who saves his country, as defined by him, does not violate any law, uses his pardon power to protect violent supporters, and where the Supreme Court has granted him wide-ranging immunity. Trump is trying to create a situation.
The people in our government, they've given up all their power because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And so they're just like, fuck it, do whatever you want. And then Trump's just doing whatever he can. But he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing because he's a retard. That's what this is, bro.
That is, in effect, forget the lawyers, do whatever I say, I'll cover you. It's a corruption of accountability.
Yeah, America's in decline to the point where our normal, you know, laws that restrict our government from becoming authoritarian is obsolete to them. And so they're just like, fuck it, we're going to do all this shit anyways.
It takes America close.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying? Like Trump, you know, starting wars without congressional approval. You know what I'm saying? Obama did the same thing too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's this nation is cooked, bruh. Like this, it's over. It's done for. And this is a result of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just a result of a declining empire, bro.
Closer to a dictatorship. Okay, so we've talked about FBI, military, intelligence services.
A declining society, a declining nation, declining empire.
But now I want to look at a different part of the security services, one that looks key to America's emerging dictatorship. So normally I'd have a sponsor at this point in the video, but today I thought I'd quickly explain what I'm trying to do on this channel.
Oh, it's oh no.
That concepts, theories.
Oh no.
That, unlike the news, children, help me out.
Papers, please. Brad, I'm not like ICE is literally the Gestapo. I do not give a fuck, bro. ICE is the Gestapo, bro. ICE is the paramilitary for the top 1%. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the purpose of ICE, along with its sister agency, Customs and Border Protection, is immigration enforcement. The way it has gone about that job has, of course, been violent and controversial, but it is arguably what many people voted for.
We will carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. We have no choice.
However, many observers don't see just immigration enforcement.
This is Gestapo-type stuff.
Gestapo-like behavior.
Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
The Gestapo were Hitler's secret police. In fact, the word is an abbreviation of Geheimstaatspolizei, which literally means secret state police. The Gestapo targeted communists, dissidents, and anyone they thought was a political threat to the Nazi regime. Later, they also targeted Jews and others they deemed undesirable, subjecting them all to a system of arrest, torture, and detention. The purpose of a secret police is to target political opponents and dissidents, and you find versions of them in all dictatorships. For example, Russia has the FSB, the intelligence agency that is the successor to the KGB. This is the agency that Putin, himself once a KGB officer, has used to imprison and kill opposition figures such as Alexei Navalny. So does it make sense to see ICE as Trump's secret police? Well, much of their action does seem political, targeting people because of their political activism or for even just writing editorials. They have arrested politicians and targeted protesters with violence. You start to notice other parallels as well. The way immigrants have been othered and dehumanized.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
Described as pollution.
They're poisoning the...
You know how ironic it is for him to say that too? You know what I'm saying? He's calling them the R word and all that when you're literally one your fucking self, you dumb fat Tangerine Palpatine.
of our country. That's what they've done.
Tangerine
Palpatine. An
Palpatine.
echo of the way Jews were forced to hide under Hitler. The other way ICE seems like a secret police is their secrecy. Their masks have become notorious. Officers operating unlike the regular police without badge numbers, names, or body cams. Some even posing as construction workers and delivery drivers to make arrests. ICE also uses surveillance like a secret police force, tracking the location of targets using mobile phone signals, monitoring protests with Predator drones, even monitoring social media for anti-ICE sentiment. In which case, hi guys.
It's not illegal to record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, why are you taking my information down?
Oh my god. Especially with like the whole Palantir shit that is ran by Peter fucking Thiel.
Because we have a nice little database.
Oh, good.
And now you're considered a domestic terrorist.
In all this, it's not just immigrants who
Pussy.
are targeted, but US citizens, tracked using facial recognition and other data sources so as to intimidate them. In fact, in the footage of Rene Good, you can see the ICE officer using his phone to record a face and license plate for this purpose, shortly before he shot her.
We're huddled, trying to stay warm, wrapped in these aluminum foils, looking
Oh
like
my
dead
god,
bodies.
bro.
There's no window that you can look outside.
I never was able to breathe fresh air.
Fluorescent lights are shining 24/7.
I worked as a journalist in Egypt and I was persecuted and detained and tortured. My experience at the Butler County Jail was more traumatizing than my detention in Egypt.
ICE currently has over 70,000 people locked up in a network of detention centers. Centers with overcrowding and awful conditions.
Yeah, I heard about this shit. They're eating like moldy bread and they're sleeping on piss and shit, bro. And then apparently there were some people that died because they weren't getting their medication.
And many people dying, often from a lack of medical care or suicide. In fact, the Associated Press reported that guards were making bets over which detainee would be next to die from suicide. And it's a system that's due to expand.
The Department of Homeland Security is planning to spend nearly $40 billion on new immigration detention centers.
All this parallels the creation of the Gulag system in the USSR under Stalin, which held millions of people, the system of Nazi camps where political opponents were held under, quote, protective custody, or the re-education camps currently existing in Xinjiang, China, into which over 1 million Muslim Uyghurs have been sent. The detention centers also parallel the way many US citizens were imprisoned without trial during the Second World War, with some of the current detention centers in the same locations.
To all ICE officers, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties.
Perhaps the most...
Bro, Stephen Miller, bro. You are such a cuck. I fucking hate you, bro. Genuinely, bro.
Ominous way in which ICE feels like something from a dictatorship is the way it seems it can get away with anything. As Stephen Miller knows, even when federal agents kill someone, US law makes it very difficult for states to bring charges against federal
She barely Oh, like that's crazy,
officers.
bro.
Or for families that sue for damages. The DOJ, who should investigate, is no longer impartial and will join the FBI in investigating the family of the victim, while the shooter is rewarded with donations. And this lawless
Bro.
in investigating the family of the
I
victim,
did not know
while the shooter
about this, bro. Yo, and these are probably all like MAGA people. I'm assuming they're MAGA. I'm guessing, bro, anonymous. I'm surprised people actually show their fucking names. Are you fucking dumb? What the fuck?
Rewarded with donations. And this lawlessness is everywhere. ICE telling its officers they can enter people's homes without a judge's warrant and repeatedly violating court orders.
In his latest blistering ruling, writing, ICE has likely violated more court orders in January 2026 than some federal agencies have violated in their entire existence.
This lack of accountability is a key aspect of security services under a dictatorship. The Gestapo, for example, was governed by a special law that made it immune from judicial review and oversight, answering only to Hitler. In fact, in 1941, a German Jewish lawyer who had escaped Nazi Germany wrote a book called The Dual State, which captured how this works. The two parts of the state were the normative state, the ordinary world of laws and courts that was needed to keep the economy and normal society functioning, and the other part was the prerogative state, where the regime is, quote, released from all legal restraints and depends solely on the discretion of the persons wielding political power.
The executive is released from all legal restraints and depends solely on the discretion of the persons wielding political power. Oh, damn. We're basically like a rogue state at this point.
But having said all that, there are ways the Gestapo comparison doesn't seem quite right, as it focused more on targeted arrests rather than random sweeps, and Hitler had control of another organisation that might be a closer parallel. The SA, stormtroopers or groundshers, were Hitler's thugs and enforcers, used by Hitler to intimidate opponents, judges and voters. In our schema of a dictator's security forces, they're known as a pro-regime militia. Other examples include the colectivos in Venezuela or the Basij in Iran, who recently gunned down many thousands of protesters. Militias are also part of US history. Industrialists hired the Pinkerton Detective Agency to break strikes in the 1800s, and for almost a century most Southern Democrats were content to let the Ku Klux Klan terrorize and lynch black.
Bro, it's crazy. Like, the Democratic Party used to be like the party of the racist. Now it's like kind of flipped around. I mean, let's be honest. It still is. It's just not as like Democrat Republicans. They're two sides of the same coin. You know what I'm saying? Republicans tend to be more open and straightforward, while Democrats are more behind the scene and secretive about, about the racist bullshit and the white supremacist, that kind of shit, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Citizens. Like other parts of the security forces, Trump wants ICE to be loyal to him personally. And while the military and FBI have traditions of professionalism and loyalty to the Constitution that make this harder, corrupting the loyalty of people in ICE is much.
Basically, they're kicking out all the people who are going to go against Trump, and all those people are going to leave. And it's gonna leave in only people that are loyal to fucking Trump and shit. It's so corny.
Easier. Partly this is done with money, signing on bonuses of $50,000 and help with student loans. But the main reason it's easier is that
and people will take advantage of that.
So many ICE recruits are new, meaning the administration can ensure that those who sign up share their political agenda.
It's a meme often used by right-wing influencers, and which refers to this book, a 700-page anti-Semitic rant popular with neo-Nazis.
The administration is using far-right memes to attract recruits who are likely to support Trump personally.
That's insane, bruh. Motherfuckers using the Halo propaganda, bro, to get niggas to join, bruh. Destroy the flood.
While at the same time cutting their legal training.
Without reform, ICE will graduate thousands of new officers who do not know their constitutional duty, do not know the limits of their authority, and who do not have the training to recognize an unlawful order. That should scare everyone.
The Trump administration has also set very low standards when it comes to recruitment, waiving maximum age requirements and failing to vet candidates, to the point where it's become a joke.
As an equal opportunity employer, we accept all levels of experience and education, from low to very low, and actively welcome those with diagnosed anger issues.
I wanted to...
What the fuck? Yo, this nigga's stupid, bruh.
Join the regular police, but they told me they wouldn't take someone who was already under arrest. Animal control said nope.
Like the underqualified cabinet member.
Like ICE agents, to describe ICE agents perfectly, ICE agents can never become a cop because they're too stupid, and ICE agents will never join the military because they're too pussy. And that's fucking why. That's an ICE agent.
Know they'd only have a job with him in power, and who therefore can't afford not to be loyal. Okay, so we've set out how Trump has corrupted the various parts of this.
That's kind of how our government builds incentives to get you to join the military. With you know what I'm saying, which is why I literally just reacted to a video, saying a draft in 2026. It would be there's no reason for us to have a draft because the government could easily just get you to join through incentives. They targeting, low income, poverty. This is basically the same way they get people to join the military here in America, like younger kids, that kind of shit. Go to your school, show the trailer, show you cool equipment, be like, hey, you in college, that kind of shit. You know what I'm talking about. Basically what they do with this, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's different. You know what I'm saying?
Security forces into a coercive regime, including a secret police and pro-regime militia. A system designed not to serve the people, but to enforce the control of the leader. But here I want to talk about some of the objections you hear when you talk about this topic. Some of the objections I even had.
Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin.
If you look at dictators like Putin, you see calculating, smart...
It's crazy. It's literally crazy that Donald Trump also has the White House plated in fucking gold and shit.
...politicians working systematically to achieve their aim of permanent power. Similarly, Hitler had a clear intention of being a dictator and seized on events that allowed him to implement that vision. Many observers describe Trump's actions in the same way, using language like authoritarian playbook. But does Trump really feel like this?
I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold.
Trump is so chaotic and easily distracted, it hardly feels like he's got a master plan. Also, while in this video
I think there's like Donald Trump, he is creating like a foundation for a dictatorship to happen, but more than likely he won't be alive to see it. You know what I'm saying? So whoever comes in line next will more than likely take his place and become that, whether it's his son, like one of his children or whatever, or like JD Vance or some shit, which I highly doubt it'd be JD Vance. It'd probably be somebody else, but you get what I mean, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't see Trump living past the 4 years of his presidency. But I mean, we said the same for Biden, so.
Explaining everything from the perspective of dictatorship, there are other explanations. Trump's purge of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, for example, was also motivated by the fact the man had released a video during the 2020 George Floyd protests talking about racism, a wokeness crime that Trump and his people held against him. Similarly, many of the other firings were about...
I mean, you're targeting people because of their, political, or personal beliefs, that's still crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Trump punishing agents who'd worked on investigations of him. As I explored in a previous video, Trump has a self-defeating obsession with getting revenge on those he sees as enemies. If Trump was really after dictatorship, you'd think he'd focus more on those who will run in 2028. For me, this question of Trump's motivation was often the reason I doubted the coming dictatorship argument, but here's how my thinking's changed. First, even if Trump's authoritarian actions are driven more by instinct than a master plan, the damage to democracy is still happening.
Same thing with Obama. They basically creating step stools for a dictatorship to happen. And the reason why I mentioned Obama is because Obama also started wars and was doing shit without congressional approval. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of reasons, you know what I'm saying? The reason why Trump is able to get away with that shit is because previous presidents before him were doing the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
How we think about the economy.
I'm not saying that Obama is authoritarian or nothing like that, but the reality is that these politicians really don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're just winging it. You know what I'm saying? They really don't know what the fuck they're doing, bro.
No politician has a master plan to destroy the economy, but if they destroy the economy, then we recognize the damage being done. Besides, there have been other dictators in history who didn't start with plans of dictatorship, but ended up there all the same. Also, if American democracy is damaged, it's much easier for other politicians, more ruthless and intentional politicians, to take advantage.
It opens that gateway for a dictatorship to happen in the future.
Advantage of that situation. Dictatorship by instinct is still dictatorship. Another objection is that this is all exaggeration. How can we talk about Hitler and dictatorships when Trump's actions are still checked by the Supreme Court? And despite his bluster, the 2026 midterm elections and the 2028 elections are still widely expected to be competitive. And I do think there is a point here, especially
it's not going to be competitive. He's going to lose the midterms. That's fucking stupid.
In the way comparisons with Hitler can be out of date.
I would just say, like, just be skeptical, of the kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Just be skeptical about it.
In Nazi Germany, the passing of the Enabling Act in 1933 gave Hitler's cabinet the power to enact laws without parliamentary approval and marked a clear moment. Similarly, many other dictatorships have begun with military coups or revolutions. In other words, moments when there's been a definite change from democracy to dictatorship. I think this is the binary model in most people's minds, talking about the death of democracy or crossing the line into dictatorship. But in more recent decades, fewer dictatorships or autocracies have developed like this. Rather than sudden moments, democracies have been slowly undermined and degraded.
It's because of previous presidents undermining, the laws and the government because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They create they indirectly are creating the foundations of a dictatorship.
Into dictatorship.
That's basically what happened.
Scholars talk
like
of
America has basically been in decline for a long time.
Democratic backsliding, decay, erosion, and have come up with many terms to describe this ambiguous state between healthy democracy and full-blown dictatorship. This kind of model lets you account for how authoritarian countries can go from bad to worse. Putin's dictatorship in Russia today is worse than it was 10 years ago, for example, and lets you see how even if America under Trump is not a full-blown dictatorship, that doesn't mean all is well. The key question is...
Also, oligarchs run the nation too.
...is where will the US end up? Okay, let's imagine we're approaching the 2028 elections. Trump hadn't planned to run a third time, but he decides he's enjoying the amount of money he's accumulating and remembers the accountability he faced when he was last out of power. And while the Constitution and the polling are against him running a third time, Trump decides to defy expectations as he has in the past. After all, it's not normal times. It is, as he's been saying since he introduced tariffs, an emergency. Or maybe by now, repeated provocation in
The thing is though, like, America is basically in emergency mode right now, and these politicians are just winging it. They don't know what they're doing, you know what I'm saying? But I highly doubt that, you know what I'm saying? I could see Trump being a dictator though. Like, I genuinely could. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Cities has led to serious riots, or maybe there's been another assassination attempt. Trump's administration
Bro, that shit is fake as fuck. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Decides it's time to crack down on left-wing organizations in the way it threatened to do after Charlie Kirk's killing, to finally arrest all the politicians Trump's threatened to over the years.
He not gonna arrest Obama. He's not gonna do it, bro.
Go after activists using the surveillance and secret police methods Trump's agencies have become so practiced at.
Behind the scenes, all these presidents and politicians, they're all buddy-buddy with each other. He's not gonna arrest Obama, bro.
Trump once again floated the idea of canceling the midterms.
He boasted that he had accomplished so much that when you think of it, we shouldn't even have an election.
Trump has joked about cancelling elections before, but maybe things are more serious now. After all, it wouldn't be surprising if the US is at war. And it's only natural that war changes things. As Trump joked before, if Ukraine's elections are suspended because of war, why can't it be the same in the US? In the US's own history, the Civil War was grounds for locking people up indefinitely without trial. The First World War led to the administration shutting down opposition media, and the Second World War saw, as we've seen, thousands of US citizens put in detention camps. Even if the elections aren't suspended, at the very least, Republicans in Congress should, as Trump has already urged, take them over to prevent fraud, by which of course Trump means any result that doesn't favour him. ICE agents could help with this, as Steve Bannon has already threatened, intimidating and arresting Democratic voters in strategic locations that help win key states. Or, another scenario, the FBI, now completely corrupt, finds evidence of a deep state coup being plotted against Trump. After all, coups have been used by other dictators as opportunities to purge judges and change the constitution. However it happens, it's clear the dictatorship is here. Protests start.
I agree. Like, I do think that Donald Trump, you know, like him, not him directly, but he is 100% creating the foundations of a dictatorship. Like, that's just what it is, bro. I do see him being a dictator. You know what I'm saying? I do see him trying to be a king. Like, that's just what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying?
To break out. But don't worry, Trump already has control of the police in the capital city, and now he sends
bro, he literally has DC locked down, bro.
National Guard from Trump states to suppress the protests. Previous Trump appointees resisted such orders, but after the purges, it's not hard to find commanders to say yes. He also sends ICE officers, people already recruited for their pro-Trump politics, who know they are unaccountable for what they do, radicalized by years of hatred from protesters, and perhaps fearing for their jobs if the opposition wins. With ICE, Trump has a national security force that is directly answerable to him. And unlike the military, which is reluctant and unused to operating domestically, ICE is a regular presence on the streets, practiced in violence against civilians, and backed up by a gulag of detention centers. Another scenario is Congress put under pressure. Hitler famously used SS troops to pressure Germany's parliament into giving him dictatorial powers. In 2020, in El Salvador, Bukele sent troops into parliament to get his way and help establish his dictatorship. And Trump supporters used force to try and intimidate Congress.
Oh my god, bro. Trump supporters are so fucking stupid.
Into overturning the 2020
They're so
elections.
dumb.
So imagine Congress asked to push through changes in the Constitution. They can hear Trump's thugs chanting outside the chamber, And this time the DC police, under Trump's control, are ordered to stand aside. ICE will be there to help too, either officially or perhaps given the day off, free to act as an unaccountable militia. The Constitution suspended, opposition detained, elections controlled. And while it might not have come about through a master plan, not all of a sudden, the result will be the same, an American dictatorship.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Should we be worried? I'm not gonna lie, bro. Let's say no American, the average citizen, regardless if they're political or not, like if they pay attention to politics or not, I don't really believe that we would allow a dictatorship to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think best case scenario, the military itself does a coup d'etat on our own government. That's literally the best case scenario, bro. But to be honest, bro, I do see our nation turning into a dictatorship if this country continues to survive. Now that's just real reality, bro. Like, to get out of this kind of shit, you literally have to rebuild an entirely new country from scratch at this point. Like, it's over. It's done. America is done for. It's completely ruined. It's a bureaucratic, bloated fucking mess. And if you want to get out of this, you have to. The only way is through revolution. You know what I'm saying? But I hope you have a good breakfast, a good dinner, and a good night, man, bro. What do y'all think about this? You know what I'm saying? I love y'all, man. Peace.